Okay, so the question was, isn't an ellipse just half a parabola? So this is an interesting question because it looks like it should be true. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you why it's not. Okay, so if you'll notice here, okay, I have three equations. We have two parabolas and one ellipse. Okay, so let's show this one. Okay, so you'll notice that this one is an upside down parabola with a maximum at 4 and x-intercepts at -2 and +2. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to create the other half of a parabola, or the other half of the ellipse, excuse me. So I do that by adding this parabola. You'll notice that this is a parabola with a minimum of -4 and an x-intercept at -2 and +2. So if I put these two halves together and somehow, kind of ignore the tails, then, this should be an ellipse, right? So now I tried to write an ellipse equation. Now here's my center at 0, 0. Okay. And then I have a major axis that's 4. So that would be my A. 4 squared would be A squared. So that would be 16. And then I have a minor axis of 2, or 4 would be the minor axis. So half of that would be 2, and then square that. All right. And let's put that in. Okay. Now, if you see this, see how the parabolas actually are smaller or fit inside your ellipse. Okay, another problem that you have with the parabola as half an ellipse argument is the domain and range. Okay, so the domain of this parabola is, or excuse me, ellipse, sorry, the ellipse is actually -2 to +2, whereas the domain of both of those parabolas is all real numbers. Okay. The second problem is that you have is the range. The range of the ellipse is from -4 to +4, whereas the range of the parabolas are x is greater than or equal to -4, and x is less than or equal to +4. So you have, for lack of a better word, larger domains and ranges. And the reason that you run into that is because notice that y is a linear term, okay, with the parabolas, and y is a square, okay, in the ellipse. So when we start, taking square roots, we notice that we have to restrict that domain and range. So we always get a positive, output when we put in our input, because we don't want any, imaginary numbers to show up. So this is a really good illustration as to why a parabola is not half of an ellipse. They're not quite the same. We want them to be the same because they look like it, but it's actually doesn't really work. Okay, I hope that clarified things for you. And yeah, hope that helped.